Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Seeds and Weeds podcast, brought to you by Small House Farm. Join us as we talk with gardeners, foragers, herbalists, chefs, and community activists to explore the many ways that plants impact our cultures and cuisines, our history, and our future. I'm your host, Bevin, and this is Seeds and Weeds. Howdy, friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, we are going to be doing something a little different. Now, we don't have a guest, but you'll still get to enjoy an interview. I was a guest recently on Wisconsin Public Radio's morning show with Kate Archer-Kent, and we've got a recording of the conversation for you to listen to. We talked about seed saving, the Michigan Seed Library Network, tomatoes, and Wisconsin seed saver Thane Earle, who's most well known for introducing the world to the Amish Paste tomato. I think you're going to really enjoy this conversation. You know, this episode has a real tomato theme, actually. So much of our life here at Small House Farm right now is all about tomatoes. We've been harvesting tomatoes, canning tomatoes, saving seeds from tomatoes. I literally have tomatoes on every available surface in our kitchen right now. And we're getting new varieties of tomato seeds listed on our website too, so be sure to check it out. We grew some incredible tomatoes this year. I just recently had a chance to speak at the Michigan State Master Gardener Conference, and guess what I talked about? Yep, you guessed it, tomatoes. We explored the history of the fruit from a wild plant in Central and South America and followed its journey influencing the cultures and cuisines of countries around the world, all the way back to America, where it has become our favorite fruit. If you think about things like ketchup and salsa, we consume millions of gallons of tomatoes every year. So yeah, tomatoes are on my mind. Now, before we jump into my conversation with Kate Archer-Kent, I want to share a seed story with you. It's the story of Thane Earle and the Amish Paste tomato. And then after the interview, we're going to dig into oregano, growing, harvesting, and using this pungent and wonderful herb. Sure, oregano's not tomatoes, but if you ask me, tomatoes and oregano go hand in hand. Now, before we get into the fun, a quick shout out to our Patreon community. I'd like to welcome all of our new members, including Lynn Solis and Jessica Adkins. Thank you so much for all of your support. Our amazing Patreon community is what helps keep this podcast on the air, and you can join for as little as $3 a month. So if you like what we're doing here at Seeds and Weeds and at Small House Farm in general, please consider joining our community. Depending on the tier, members enjoy a wide range of benefits, including exclusive content, seed stories, herbal gift boxes, heirloom seeds, and even books. It's pretty awesome. You can find the link to our Patreon down in the show notes or at seedsandweedspodcast.com. All right, now let's talk about that Amish Paste tomato. The Amish Paste is a classic heirloom tomato, loved by gardeners around the world for its productive nature and deep, rich tomato flavor. Amish Paste rambling vines produce bushels of bright red oblong fruits that are just perfect for canning, sauce making, and even for fresh eating. Although the Amish Paste tomato was a common sight in many modern gardens at one time, this old heirloom was actually quite rare. But thanks to the hard work of a few dedicated seed savers, we are still able to enjoy this wonderful tomato today. The story of the Amish Paste tomato begins with Thane Earle of Whitewater, Wisconsin. Thane was an avid gardener and a lover of all of nature's wonders. He traveled the world visiting places such as Kenya, Tanzania, Costa Rica, and much of Western Europe, exploring the vast diversity of flora and fauna that grew in those regions. Thane's friends and family described him as an eccentric collector who did little in moderation. Before his interest turned to gardens, Thane collected various animals on his farm, establishing what could easily be described as a private zoo. Thane's collection included lions, bears, monkeys, and an assortment of snakes and reptiles. He briefly raised birds, and true to his nature, Thane wasn't content with a small collection. Instead, he kept more than 140 different types of fowl, including banties, ducks, geese, and pigeons. Thane Earle brought this same level of dedication to his gardening. Over the years, he collected hundreds of varieties of fruits and vegetables, including 450 different types of beans and more than 1,200 varieties of tomatoes, including the now famous Amish Paste. Not only did Thane Earle enjoy collecting and preserving this diversity, but he felt it was just as important to share. By sharing these seeds, Thane was able to save so many important varieties from being lost. He began sharing his seeds through the Seed Savers Exchange Network in 1986. This is the same year the organization moved to its current home in Decorah, Iowa. Thane was one of the first attendees of the Seed Savers annual campout, which is a tradition that still continues today. Through Seed Savers Exchange, gardeners around the world can connect with each other for the purpose of saving and sharing seeds. And Thane's first listing with Seed Savers included seeds for a variety simply known as Amish Paste. Unfortunately, Thane did not keep accurate records in his early days of seed saving, so it's impossible to say exactly where he first acquired these special tomato seeds, but there are a few interesting theories. One of the most common stories found online claims that the Amish Paste tomato can be traced back to 1870, where it was first grown by an Amish family in Medford, Wisconsin. However, the first Amish community in the state wasn't even established until 1920. Another theory holds that Thane's Amish Paste tomato seeds first came from an Amish farm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is home to the oldest Amish community in North America. Thane did trade seeds extensively with gardeners across the United States and had even traveled through Pennsylvania on more than one occasion. In his first year offering seeds through Seed Savers, Thane Earle connected with a fellow collector, Lee Stoltzfus. At the time, Lee served as coordinator of the Heirloom Seed Project, a new initiative of the Landis Valley Museum in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The project centered on the preservation of heirloom vegetable varieties grown through the Pennsylvania Dutch region since the 18th century, and the Amish Paste tomato from Thane Earle was one of the first seeds included in the new collection. At the Landis Valley Museum, the Heirloom Seed Collection is preserved as a living exhibit, where varieties from the collection are grown out every year in the museum gardens, and the seeds are saved from each harvest to be packaged and shared with the community. The seeds are available for purchase at the museum, special events, and in more recent times through their online store. Through the Landis Valley Museum, seeds for the Amish Paste tomato fell into the hands of Tom Hauch, who was a gardener, seed saver, and local entrepreneur. And Tom was in the process of launching a new seed business, known simply as Heirloom Seeds, and in 1990, the Amish Paste tomato was listed amongst his offerings. In this first commercial listing for Amish Paste tomato seeds, Tom described the tomato as an old Amish variety from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Since first being offered through Tom's Heirloom Seed business, gardeners around the world have been able to grow and enjoy Amish Paste tomatoes. Anyone who enjoys a productive and delicious tomato owes a debt of gratitude to the forward-thinking seed savers who have come before us. Seed savers like Tom Hauch, Lee Stoltzfus, and of course, Thane Earle.
It is the morning show. I'm Kate Archer-Kent. We explore seed stewardship and efforts to save heirloom varieties of tomatoes. Bevin Cohn is here, author, seed saver, and the owner of Small House Farm in central Michigan. Bevin, welcome to the Ideas Network.
Well, hello, Kate. Thanks for having me here today.
Yes, so you're the founder of the Michigan Seed Library. It seeks to establish community seed sharing programs. What are the benefits of sharing seeds across a community?
Oh, there are so many benefits. So we could start with, first and foremost, building that community, bringing like-minded people together to share something that they love, right? When we have a central hub, a seed library, people from all over the community can come together, not only to share their seeds, but also to learn from each other, to experience their frustrations together. Gardening can be challenging. And if you're doing that by yourself, you might want to give up. But when you have a community behind you that you can learn from, you have all of these wonderful opportunities to grow a better garden, to become a better gardener, to get better produce, all sorts of wonderful things. Plus, when we grow our own seeds in our community and save them and share them, those seeds will adapt to the area that we grow them in. So as opposed to buying new seeds that come from another place, seeds from our own communities, from our own gardens will actually perform better and give us bigger and more delicious produce to enjoy.
Do you see these seed libraries as helping backyard gardeners or commercial farmers, or a mixture of both?
Well, a lot of the seed libraries are geared directly towards backyard home gardeners. Mm-hmm. I think they benefit from the most, but commercial gardeners certainly play a role in the seed library. A lot of the times to get a seed library started, we need to get some seeds to be able to provide for the community. And often those do come from commercial seed companies that are so generous to donate their seeds to get the program started.
What are examples of varieties that seed libraries can provide?
So many things. Imagine all of your favorite stuff, right? So we're talking about tomatoes and peppers and lettuce and greens. What I have found over the years is some of the most popular things at seed libraries actually tend to be flowers and herbs. Those are the things that folks really like to grow, especially people that have a smaller growing area, small yard, growing on a balcony, whatever it might be. Flowers and herbs are very, very popular.
I keep hearing the word library, and it just makes me wonder, could local book library systems, establish seed libraries? Is there any possibility in that?
Okay, that's the question, isn't it? So actually, most seed libraries are housed within public libraries, and a seed library functions a lot like a traditional library does. You come to the library, you check out your seeds, just like you would check out your books. You take it home, you enjoy them, you plant the seeds, you grow your garden, and then in the fall, You can save the seeds from your garden and bring them back, just like you bring your book back after you're done reading it. You could bring your seeds back to the library to restock it for your community to enjoy next spring.
How is that kind of the system for the Michigan Seed Library? How does your system work?
Each library in our system, and here in Michigan, we have, as of right now, 140 seed libraries throughout the state of Michigan. And to put that in perspective, there's maybe 600 to 700 seed libraries nationwide. So we have quite a few of them here in Michigan.
Wow.
And they all operate a little bit differently depending on, their resources or the needs of their community, right? So it's real free form in a way. So we can really address the specific needs of each community. But yeah, that's about how it works. Folks can bring in their seeds and share them with the community, or they can check out seeds. And one of the things that I love about these seed library programs that are housed in public libraries is that these libraries also offer programming built around the seed library. So a lot of how-to gardening classes, how to save your seeds, how to get your seeds started in the spring, what to do with the produce. That's some of my favorite stuff, right? Once you grow all this delicious produce, some people, they need some help. What am I going to do with all this bounty? So we help them learn how to cook it, how to preserve it, all sorts of wonderful stuff.
During a recent program here, Liz from Chicago encouraged our show to have more conversations about native seeds and plant preservation. How threatened are native seeds from invasive species in the Midwest?
Well, that's a concern, most certainly. I think that native seeds are threatened by not only invasives, but they're also threatened by human expansion, we could say, right? We take over a lot of space to develop whatever, parking lots, buildings, whatever it might be. And sometimes these native plants become a victim of that expansion. So I think that any opportunity that we have to preserve those varieties, to get people growing them, it's critical that we do that. And folks can, even in their own backyard, create a small little native oasis, and they'll see just the impact that it has with the wildlife around you, the butterflies and the birds and all these wonderful things that'll move into your backyard. So it's enjoyable for the person, but it's also incredibly beneficial for nature as well.
In terms of farming, how could these practices, impact commercial agriculture to better support, seed sharing initiatives?
Well, ultimately, what we want to have happen is that these larger seed companies or agricultural organizations, we want them to focus on these local and regional seeds, right? Those are the things that we want to have them offering and growing, and maybe even have them at our grocery stores. That'd be so amazing, And I think that one of the functions of the seed library is an instigator of conversation. It gets people talking about these sorts of things and why these local varieties are important. And, and if we drop a pebble in a pond and it starts these ripples, hopefully we could have an impact on a larger scale throughout the agricultural systems of America.
So, Bevin, you recently inherited this seed collection, over 900 tomato varieties from the famed Whitewater seed saver, Thane Earle. What is Earle's legacy as a seed saver?
Oh, my goodness. So Thane was quite a character. And as you'll find in the seed saving world, folks that are dedicated to preserving the quantity of seeds that Thane did, they're unique individuals for sure. Thane was quite a guy, and he saved so many different seeds, not just tomatoes, lots of different beans and peppers and all sorts of wonderful stuff. But it's the tomatoes that I think really give Thane his fame, so to speak. One variety in particular that really stands out that all of your listeners are probably familiar with if they garden is the Amish Paste tomato, which is a classic, right? Beautiful, big, wonderful canning tomato. We grow it here. We've grown it for years before I even understood the legacy of this tomato. Thane down there in Whitewater, he was a collector of many things. He, not just seeds even. He, if you're familiar, Thane traveled the world and he loved beautiful things. And for a time, he even had his own little personal zoo of different animals that he would bring back and this sort of thing. But once he got turned on to saving his seeds, he saved so much stuff. There's actual documentation that at one point Thane's collection included up to 1,200 varieties of tomatoes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And, one of the jobs that I've been lucky enough to acquire over the years is the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company puts out a big catalog every year. It's called the Whole Seed Catalog. It's the largest catalog ever made. This one, it's over 500 pages. And it's got all the different varieties that they offer, but also these beautiful stories. And I'm lucky enough to have this opportunity to research and document the stories of these different varieties. So for the catalog that came out this year, I was assigned to find the story of the Amish Paste tomato. And it was quite a wild ride to get to learn about this tomato.
You went on a journey. Yeah. What did you find out?
Well, some amazing stuff. So you first find documentation of the Amish paste tomato from Thane Earle in 1986, when he donated it to the Seed Savers Exchange, which is an organization in Decorah, Iowa. It's a nonprofit dedicated to the preservation of heirloom seeds. And they have an exchange program that members can sign up for. So folks all over the country can get into their own little catalog so they can swap seeds with each other. And Thane joined it right early in the days of the Seed Savers Exchange in 1986. And in his first listing, it included the Amish Paste tomato. So that's the first place that we could find documentation of it, right? And that same year, Thane shared seeds through the program with the Landis Valley Museum in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the reason the museum was interested in this old Amish paste tomato came from the Amish community, right? And one of the oldest Amish communities in the United States happens to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, right? So he shared some of those seeds with the museum. And the museum has a program where they grow out the seeds and distribute them as a fundraiser through their community. So that's very cool. Well, then another gentleman went to the museum and found these seeds. And in 1990, he started the Heirloom Seeds Company, is what it was called. And that was the first time that the Amish Paste tomato was made available commercially, widely available to folks, which quickly took over. Like I said, we grow it in our garden. Almost every gardener I know is familiar with the Amish Paste tomato, thanks to the Heirloom Seed Company. But in reality, thanks to Thane Earle, right? His dedication to preserving this heritage, understanding the importance of saving these seeds.
So technically, then, how do you store and handle these heirloom seeds? I mean, this is quite a collection. How do you ensure that they are protected and that they will be able to be carried on and continued?
That's such a wonderful question. So at the Seed Savers Exchange, they preserve thousands upon thousands of different varieties, and they actually have a vault where they keep the seeds stored at very cold temperatures, right? Essentially like a very large walk-in freezer. And seeds stored in these types of environments, very, very cold, they will last for a multitude of years, right? It's long-term storage, and that's great for long-term preservation. But for us home gardeners, we don't necessarily want to put all of our seeds in the freezer. We want to continue to plant our seeds, right? Planting those seeds every year, saving the seeds from our crops, I think is the best way to do things. And in that scenario, you just want to keep your seeds in a cool, dark location, right? In a closet, in a cupboard, where you store your canned food. As long as it's cool, dark, and dry, the seeds will typically be perfectly fine to store until next year. The trick here, Kate, is understanding when to harvest the seeds.
Yes, I was about to ask you, like, when is that seed most viable? And when is the right time to collect them?
Right. So learning how to identify the maturity of the seed in each of the different species that you're going to grow in your gardens, that's the challenge for gardeners. And now it's a challenge for us because we're not familiar with it, right? Folks that haven't saved seeds. But remember, people have been saving seeds since the dawn of agriculture, right? 10,000 years people have been doing this. So it's something that all of us can do. It just takes a little bit of time out in the garden. So tomatoes, that's an easy one. When a tomato is ripe, when it changes colors from green to red, that signals its maturity, and that's when we know those seeds are ready to harvest. So a tomato at the stage that you're going to pick it anyways, those seeds in there, they're ready to be harvested, ready to be saved, and shared with your friends or put away until next year.
Bevin, should people collect seeds from fruits or vegetables that are purchased at the grocery store?
That's a fun question. That's a question people ask a lot, and people will say, oh, maybe you shouldn't save seeds from your fruits and vegetables at the grocery store because you don't know if they've been cross-pollinated. You don't know how they're being grown. You don't know if those seeds are necessarily going to come true to type. But quite often those seeds will grow and they will produce food. And if you're just growing for fun, if you just want to produce some cool peppers or tomatoes, you absolutely can do that. I have a friend at our local farmer's market. He will go to the grocery store and buy a bag of what's called lunchbox peppers. They're these little tiny sweet peppers, right? You're familiar with them?
Yes.
They're wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes.
You will go to the grocery store, buy the peppers, eat the peppers, plant the seeds. Okay. Right out of the peppers, plant them, grow a whole bunch of these lunchbox peppers, sell them at the farmer's market, right? These peppers, a lot of these things at these grocery stores are grown on such a large scale, it's almost like a monoculture. It's just essentially that one pepper variety, but as far as you can see. So the cross-pollination is actually quite limited.
Very limited.
So you get you could definitely save seeds from a lot of stuff from the grocery store.
Okay, Bevin, we only have a few seconds left, but can you pick a favorite child? Is there a favorite seed in your library or something that you really love from an heirloom?
Oh my gosh, that's an almost impossible question, but I'll just say this. I've just acquired a tomato from France. It's called Bleu de Provence, and it is a little tiny pink tomato with blue blush shoulders. It is absolutely adorable, and it is so delicious, and I'm so excited to be growing it this year.
Oh, Bevin, what a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This has been a ton of fun. An herb that you can find on spice racks all over the world, oregano brings flavor to a wide variety of dishes and offers a range of medicinal benefits as well. The peppery leaves of oregano are most well known for their use in Mediterranean cuisine, but for centuries, this pungent herb has also been highly prized for its medicinal qualities. Originally native to the Mediterranean region, oregano is now naturalized across much of the Northern Hemisphere. Oregano is a member of the mint family and it's a perennial, but however, it's sometimes grown as an annual in areas that have harsh winters. Oregano's Latin binomial is Origanum vulgare, and the genus Oregano combines the words oros, or mountain, and ganos, meaning brightness. Now, this name, brightness of the mountain, fits an herb that cascaded across the sides of the highest hills in ancient Greece, reflecting the morning light off the dew on its leaves. The specific epithet, vulgare, typically defines the common species within a genus, so many often refer to this herb as common oregano. The plant's also sometimes referred to as wild marjoram, and it's closely related to sweet marjoram. And these two plants are often used interchangeably, although oregano has a much stronger flavor and aroma. Oregano in the kitchen. A list of oregano's culinary applications would almost be endless. This versatile herb adds a depth of flavor and aroma to so many different dishes. But this herb most commonly pairs in the kitchen with tomato. In this combination, it's practically ubiquitous. You'll find oregano in most tomato-based sauces like marinara and pizza sauce, but it also brings delicious flavors to roasted meats and vegetables. That woodsy flavor adds vibrance to chicken and other poultry, and it also pairs well with other herbs and seasoning blends. Oregano, of course, features in the customary Italian seasoning blend that's found in practically every grocery store and spice cabinet across the country, but it's also an essential ingredient in the more elevated herbes de Provence, a traditional herb mixture from the Provence region of France. Try infusing oregano along with rosemary and thyme in a high-quality vinegar. Let the herb steep for 1 to 2 weeks, and then blend it with virgin olive oil to create a robustly flavored vinaigrette to drizzle on all of your salads and vegetable dishes. Oregano in the apothecary. It's possible that the medicinal use of oregano actually predates its extensive culinary history. Ancient Egyptians used oregano both topically and internally for a wide variety of ailments, including stomach upset, minor wounds, infections, and skin irritations. It was also prescribed as an antidote for poisoning. The ancient Greeks, too, recorded many of its traditional uses. Oregano is still a popular herb in the modern apothecary as well. A tea brewed from its leaves will help settle digestive issues or ease a persistent cough. Craft a salve from oregano to use topically on cuts, scratches, and other skin abrasions. An antibacterial herb, oregano also does a great job at helping to heal wounds. I explore many of the medicinal uses of oregano in my book, The Artisan Herbalist, and if I could only choose a handful of herbs to stock in my apothecary, I think oregano would certainly be one of them. Growing oregano. Oregano is an easy-to-grow herb that should be included in every garden. It prefers full sun, but it'll still do well in partial shade. Oregano is somewhat drought-tolerant, and it's also quite cold-hardy. Once your plant's well established, it should thrive for years to come. You can certainly start your plants from seeds as they germinate quite easily. Start your seeds 8 to 10 weeks before your last spring frost, and then transplant the young seedlings out into the garden after the weather warms and soil temps reach around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Oregano is incredibly prolific, and it's so easy to propagate via root division. You just simply separate an already established oregano plant into clumps, ensuring that each piece has some roots still attached, and then replant wherever you want your oregano to grow. Be sure to keep these new plants well watered until they're settled in their new homes, and then they should be good to go. Well, what do you know? We have reached the end of yet another show. Thanks again for joining us, friends. It has been a blast. Remember, if you enjoy the podcast and would like to support our work, you can always join our community on Patreon. You can find that link and so much more at seedsandweedspodcast.com. This episode was edited and produced by all of us here at Small House Farm, and the music we're enjoying right now is called Food and Fun by Golden Sound Labs. Thanks again for being here. I'm Bevin Cohen, and we'll see you next time.